What is up, you guys? Noise Apata here. We got a fire guest like always. We got Nick Scarborough. Nick Scarborough is going to introduce himself, but I'll share a little bit about him. You know, we've brought on people that right now are going to be collaborating, you get me, with some of the biggest people on the West Coast. We had Young Hump, we had Digital Underground on, about to be with Ice Cube. We brought on Brad Blazer, he's raised billions of dollars. We've had on Cartoon Network, John R. Dilworth, the creator of Courage the Cowardly Dog. You might have seen it growing up. Today we got Nick Scarborough. He's part of the D2D Experts. He's a co-founder of Source NRG. So it's a leading just company when it comes to solar that has a lot of integrity in so many different aspects that will far, I think, succeed like a lot of people, even unconsciously, just because of how they operate, who they are as people, and really just putting them at the forefront. Was in the D2D Experts with Sam Taggart. Kind of just brought him on the show today. We have his Instagram here if you guys want to connect with Nick afterwards. And so Nick, what's up, man? Like, what's your story? Let's just dive right into it.
What's up, Noel? Thank you for having me on the podcast. It's an honor, and look forward to chopping it up with you, bro. So let's do it.
Yeah. So I mean, tell me a little bit like how you grew up. You get me? Like just like your upbringing and kind of like how it is that you became one of the co-founders of Source Energy. It's like one of the leading players. I would share like in solar, and you get me just developing the relationship later with like Sam Taggart being inside the Lightspeed VT, the expert system.
Yeah, 100%. So I grew up in like a small town in Maryland called Bel Air, and my upbringing, I lived with my mom. So my parents were divorced when I was 3. Mainly lived with my mom. I would go to my dad's house on weekends, but mainly lived with my mom. Went to school in Bel Air, Maryland. Super small town. I was lower middle class. We weren't like broke. Like shout out to Mama Duke. She always made sure we were taken care of, had food on the table. But definitely wasn't like, didn't grow up balling or anything like that. Like we were like lower middle class. But yeah, as I was growing up, I played sports. So I was always playing either soccer, football. I started skateboarding when I was like 4 years old. And with my parents being divorced, I actually spent a lot of time alone. So like I was pretty independent kid. Like always cooked for myself, started working at like a pizza place when I was 14, just to make some extra money. But yeah, basically grew up, played sports pretty much until I was in, I want to say junior year of high school, and always an athlete, super active. But yeah, I really got into the door-to-door space when I was about 16. So or just kind of a little intro, I'm a co-founder of Source NRG, like you already said. One of my partners, or our CEO, Devin Anderson, went to high school with him. Met him, and he pretty much recruited me into the door-to-door space, and that was in Maryland. So I started off in the home improvement, selling gutters, windows, doors, roofs, siding, you name it, those bathrooms, stuff like that. My first sale in the door-to-door space was gutters. It was like $6,500 at gutters when I was like 16, and I made $400, and I was like, let's go. I was like, I realized like I could actually make some, even though $400, I was 16.
You were 16? That's
yeah,
massive.
I was 16. So I was still in high school, living with my mom at the time.
I worked at a Burger King.
Right on. Yeah, so 14 to 16, I pretty much worked at like a pizza place. But I think what really started my journey in personal development was I was always interested in like investing and just personal development and becoming financially free, because as I was growing up, I mean, I was straight, but like we didn't there. I knew there was more. So my mom actually bought me this book called Buffettology. It's a book on like Warren Buffett's methods of investing and whatnot, and that's what kind of sparked my interest in personal growth. And then from there, I started watching all these YouTube videos and just learning about growth and all these books and whatnot. But yeah, back to kind of the door to door. 16, went to high school with Devin, like I said, and he recruited me into the industry. We were in the same like math class in our sophomore year of high school or something. And yeah, so from there, got my first sale in like 2 weeks. I was getting paid under the table. So it was like they just gave me $400 cash, like right after I sold the deal. So I was like, all right, like I want to do this. From there, did the home improvement thing for a little while, and I was just kind of like, this is like, still don't really know if I want to do this or not. Just because home improvement was like not really provide, like you had to find someone that needed it in order to sell something, and it wasn't like you were really providing value to people. So when I was 17, ended up going on a couple of, like I was still planning on going to college to study like business and marketing. So I ended up touring a couple schools in New York, still planning on going to college, and then came back home to New York shortly after that. Talking to Devin one day, and he's like, "Oh, dude, we're gonna transition to the solar industry. Like, I met these guys on Instagram. They're gonna fly out here. We're gonna get an Airbnb. They're gonna do like a 5-day onboarding training with us." And that was really when I was introduced to like higher level people. And that was a company called Da Vinci Energy. I don't think they're still around, but that was when I first got introduced to like, they sold me on door to door. They were like, listen, if I had no idea what I was doing. I was like 17 at the time, and they're just like, look, dude, if you knock 100 to 150 doors a day, like you'll make 6 figures. And I'm just like, all right, dude, like if I can make 6 figures working 8 hours a day, I'll knock 150 doors a day. And I kid you not, I did that for 3 months straight. I would go out every day, knock 100 to 150 doors a day, and literally have 50 to 60 conversations a day when I was 17, and literally sell nothing. Like just getting my teeth kicked in over and over and over again, because I'm at the door holding the script, like reading off of it and stuff like that. But it was cool because I was living with mom. She was paying the bills. I was probably still working at the pizza place on the side, just making some money. But I think that experience alone really helped me develop grit, you know? So just grit and grind for those 3 months. And then from there, since we didn't sell anything, the company was kind of like, oh, like guys aren't really selling anything, not really going to give much attention to you. We sold maybe a couple deals for this company, and they ended up not even getting installed. I think I made like $500 because they paid me for 5 sit downs, $100 each for those first 3 months. So I ended up getting like this other canvassing job, doing like solar surveys where they paid you hourly, and they would give you like $150 if someone sat down for the appointment. And then I kind of did that until the summer of 2018, I want to say. And then the summer of 2018, go ahead, were you going to say something? Just keep
I'm
going.
just, yeah, I'm kind of like, yeah. Sorry if I interrupted. Please,
No, you're good. It
you
looked
may
like you
continue.
had something to say. All right, cool. But no, summer of 2018, again, talking with Devin, he's like, "Hey, bro, I'm I'm pretty much moving to Colorado. My brother's out there selling solar. We're gonna go out there and sell solar." And I'm like, "All right, dude. Well, like, I still have a year of school left next year, so like, I can't really do anything, yada yada yada." And then I ended up going out to Colorado to do a summer program, and like, meanwhile, I'm not on the best terms with my mom, and she's like, "No, like this and this, you have to go to school." Basically, it's like, "Look, if you want to live with me, you need to go to school." I was like, I convinced natural born salesman, convinced her that to go out there for just 3 weeks. Long story short, ended up going out for 3 months. So I ended up going out for the whole summer. Um, I got introduced to really just a lot more personal development stuff, and really started learning about habits and how like you are the sum total of your habits. That was like a main thing that I learned, is like you literally are your habits. Um, but 2018 came out here, did a summer program, met some of my best friends to this day that summer. And then when I went back home after summer, I had to go back to school, and I just got done having literally the best summer of my life. And I was like, damn, like I can really go make a career for myself out of this, and like I don't have to go to college to be successful. And when I came back, my last year of school, my senior year of high school, so there's 180 days of school, right? I probably went for 80 of those days in my last year. And I had literally had the last year of my
You didn't go to
high,
college, right?
no, I did not go to college.
You
The
didn't want to
last year,
finish high school.
yeah, I barely, they
Did you ever
barely,
get into college for like a little bit or no?
no, no. So,
You probably had to like okay, cool.
yeah, no. So I literally went back to school, missed pretty much every day. I took half days as a senior, so I'd go to school. I was supposed to be there until noon, but I would leave my first class at like 10:30. I would just leave school and go knock. Because I had a company. I didn't have a company, but I was working for a company there that like let me set appointments for them and whatnot. But yeah, I would literally leave school to go knock doors, and um, yeah, so that's kind of my journey growing up. I think,
Thank you, Jesus. And
yeah.
kind of like when you had that journey and like you were able to like, I guess like grow up and stuff, because you're still super young, right? It's just like, how old are you? You're like 24, 25, 26.
I'm 21.
What the heck, Nick? You freaking catch. Oh my. Guys, I'm 23, just so you know. So this is world class. How were you able to get into personal development and make a shift where it's just like you were able to get to like the top of the mountain like that? It's just like, because that's something to really like, I don't know, like people to like draw from if they're intelligent enough, like in their own lives, where it's just like, what the heck, man? And then that means when you worked with Sam Taggart, because you're on the solar, you get me D2D University, and I love that program. You get me? It's just like I got to loosen up a little bit more, and you know, you were probably like 19, 20 years old when you did that, and you've had some of the top people, just like I'd say like probably in the world, go through that program. Like just various like just like everywhere, and it's just like you're probably like 19, 20 years old, just like doing sales, already making like 6, 7 figures. You kind of started your company and more. So it's just like, what do you like what put you in that like fast track, like that trajectory, that
Well,
direction?
well, Paul, I appreciate that, but I
Thanks, bro.
mean, I'm definitely nowhere where I want to be. I've come a long way for sure, but I think um it was really just me wanting to be financially independent and live life on my terms. Um, because I don't like being like limited, you know. So just living an unlimited lifestyle was kind of my like I guess vision or drive if you will, just so like I would be financially independent and secure for the rest of my life and my family's life and their families' lives. But I think it was just the adversity, man, and it didn't stop there. Like when I just to kind of bring that full circle and finish that loop, when my last year of high school, so listen, check this out. I was straight A, not straight A student, but I'll get like A's and B's, maybe like a C here and there. Really good student for the first 3 years. And then senior year, I after I went to Colorado, I had so many breakthroughs that summer of like, I don't need to go to college to be successful. I can make 6 to 7 figures a year in the solar industry. I can help other people do the same. And I think what basically just the kind of my story, if you will, after I graduated high school, which I literally had a 0.00 GPA the last year.
For real?
For real. I had a
It's
0.0
fire.
GPA. And I remember going to like my English teacher and being like, hey, like they're not gonna let me graduate. Like, what do I need to do? And then she went back into like the system and like gave me all these points on tests and stuff that like I didn't take so that I could get a passing grade because I only needed to pass like 3 or 4 of my classes that year to graduate. So they basically pushed me through school the
Fire.
last year to get me to graduate. The day after I graduated, because remember how I was like, my mom was like, look, you gotta go to school if you're gonna live with me. I um day after I graduated, I drove literally the day after, I drove to New Jersey and started working for Trinity Solar. So that and that was this is in 2019. So I graduated high school 2019, and then the day after I graduated, drove to New Jersey to start working with Trinity Solar, and I would say that's when I really actually started taking the career seriously. I still sucked, like I was still pretty bad in 2019, but that's where I really started to develop and got around um, even more higher level people and started to um, learn sales and psychology and like all this other stuff, leadership development, leadership skills. Got introduced to like John Maxwell, or not personally, but like reading his books and stuff like that. But I would say while I was at Trinity, I was there for 9 months. I would sell, and I was self-genning. I know like one of the topics you wanted to cover was like the lease and the loan and stuff. So I was selling PPAs for 9 months in New Jersey. And I think what fast tracked me, if you will, and like I'm definitely I appreciate you, Noel, but I'm definitely not at the top of the mountain yet, bro.
Uh,
So
what
still
a
got a long
modest person.
way
You get me? It's usually the biggest people that are just so modest. This is wild, right? And like, careful with the friends you select. Look at Nick, man. Because like at 21, made like 6, 7 figures, right? Co-founder of Source Energy, been on the D2D Experts. So I mean, already came in just like, aha. And it's just like the way that he was able to share it and present it, so that everybody else can like get with it and like kind of learn from it and just be the best version of who they are. It's just as people. But it's kind of like, what the heck, man? And it's just like, I don't know, like, yeah. So that you're so I mean, definitely like, but I'm like, because like we're so young, so it's just like the world is our oyster, right? But it's like, how are you able to like get to like eventually like developing the belief, the confidence, the repetition, the relationships to build the solar company, and then like the loan, the lease, you get me? And it's just kind of like, and anything else like in between there. You get
Yeah.
me?
So,
And then and then scaling, and then just this being like a season of confirmation where it's just like it's gonna get faster like now in ways that are gonna be um divine, very holy, just very wholesome, and it's gonna be like in the soul and the heart and taking you to like where it is that you want to like reach. Because at the end of the day, like you're supposed to reach your destiny and your purpose. In the Bible, there was this man named Roman. In Romans, he was named Paul. Paul used to be a Christian killer. I am a Christian. But his last account in the New Testament, one of the books that he wrote for God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit, the beauty of like in God we trust, in Jesus' name, it's kind of like he accomplished everything that he had to accomplish at the end of his life when he was like, I think like 80, 90, whatever that was. And he
mhm,
accomplished everything. So it's just like, having the ability to like influence others, you got me already having done like amazing stuff and more, and I'm trying to dissect some of the stuff in the middle. It's like to be able to share to the best of your ability in the best ways possible. You get me? Like what it is that you want to share with like a clean heart and like being able to leave back for others and that like impactful impact that'll just go on to the next person and or the woman or man. And when it's cut and ripe, they got it. And then they shared it with the next person, woman or man, and it's cut and ripe. And it's kind of just like it's scaled, you got me. With something that was just like whoa. It's like that was it just felt clean. You got me? So it's just like
for
being able
sure.
to go with the example.
Yeah, bro. And for sure. And I think a lot of like the success that I'm starting to see now really came from adversity. And like just I'm thinking of a couple examples right now. Like when I was living in New Jersey, when I was 18, so I started to learn how to self-gen when I was 18, and that's what I was doing in New Jersey. And I was terrible, dude. Like for the first few months I was there, like my I my best month in that year was probably like 11 or 12 deals. And then the other months I'd sell like three or four. And then right before I left, I started to catch my groove and start to sell like 6, 7 deals a month. But I don't even think I made six figures while I was at Trinity. I'm close, but probably I don't even think I hit six figures there. But dude, just pushing through adversity. Like I remember being in New Jersey. Um, like I was so broke, dude. Like I was living with my buddy Andrew, and we were sharing like a two bedroom apartment. And I remember that I was so broke that I would have to like so I lived in like central Jersey, but I worked in North Jersey, and it was like an hour car ride. So I used to be so broke, and I was driving a 2005 Toyota Camry industry. I called her old reliable. But no, I used to be so broke that I had to like I would put just enough gas in my car to where I knew that when I got to my neighborhood, I would have a quarter tank left because I knew that it was like exactly enough to where I could drive home on a quarter tank. And then the gas station was right next to my apartment complex. So I used to make sure like I would drive in my neighborhood, and if it got to a quarter tank, I would have to park and then just knock the rest of the day until I was driving home. And like some days, dude, in New Jersey, like wintertime, like I remember being out there and like there's already 6 inches of snow on the ground and it's just coming down, dude. And I'm like driving, like spot knocking, like driving up to a street, running out, knocking a couple doors, and then running back to my car. And they're like, what is this kid doing out here? But just pushing through things like that. And this is kind of a funny story too, but yeah, man, using adversity as a stepping stone and not seeing it as adversity, but like making the decision that you're going to push through no matter what happens. Like again, I was living with my buddy Andrew, and we used to split the rent. And so what I used to do, and this is kind of funny, he's gonna hear this and laugh. I used to be like, yeah, bro, send me your half, and I'll pay the rent. And I didn't have the other half yet, so I would always pay our rent late and pay the late fee, and he had no idea. So like I was I was like
That's
super
fire.
broke. Yeah, right.
That's kind of
And
like
dude,
wholesaling at the beginning, where it's like if somebody doesn't have like enough for like the closing, they'll just give it to the seller, but the seller ended up making like maybe 50K off that deal, and you made like a 5-10K profit. But the other person made 50 to 100K. They were fortunate enough to be with that person, and then time is invaluable. Like there's no price for that. It's the most valuable thing I think anyone has to offer.
yeah, bro. But yeah, definitely it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. Like had to pay the piper. Like, and I remember one month I had to like I didn't talk to my father in like a year, and I had to call him and ask him to send me $350, and that was like that like broke me, dude, because I didn't have like I was like so embarrassed, and but it was all love. He sent it over, got the rent paid, and ended up moving out to Colorado about I want to say 2 or 3 months after that. Broke my lease, and then drove to Colorado with two of my best friends, my girlfriend, and one of my guys' girls as well. We all drove across the country from Jersey to Colorado, and even then I was broke. I had like $500 driving across the country, and I brought my girl with me. And when I got there, I had like I was staying with Devin at the time, and I didn't have anything. Like I had nowhere for us to stay, and it was gonna be me, Devin, his pregnant girlfriend at the time, and my buddy, one of my best friends, Marquez, and we were all staying in the same like two or three bed apartment. And so when I got to Colorado, my girl had to fly back home because she grew up in Florida, so her mom had to fly her back to Florida. And this is March 2020, when COVID was basically shutting down the country, and like everyone's freaking out. There's so much fear and all this and that. But the day I got to Colorado, this is March 2020. I literally knocked the next day because I was like, dude, like I gotta go make it happen, and started working with company called Fluent. Um, and then from there, I bageled for 3.5 weeks. I set 60 appointments. Um, I think I had one close and it canceled. So I had to like sell my iPad. Shout out to Marquez Kimbrough. Follow him on Instagram. That dude like took care of me basically for a month.
Whoa, damn, that's
Um,
fire. What
dude,
was his name? If you want to give him like a shout out.
yeah, shout out to Marquez Kimbrough. It's my boy. And but no, dude, I've also been super fortunate to have people that like love me and care about me throughout the way. Otherwise, like I don't know what I would do. Um, but with that, bro, after I bageled for 3.5 weeks, and something that I learned from like mentors in that phase was the law of the harvest. So like what you put out has to come back to you by law. Like so if you put out shit, it's like shit's gonna come back. And if you put out good vibe, I don't know if you believe in like vibes, but what you put out
All of it.
must come back.
I think it all comes from the same place. It
Mm-hmm.
just I think part of it sometimes like because we'll connect with ether source. I think that's just God, Jesus, and Holy Spirit. I've Ephesians 5:11, expose the fruit of the works of darkness, but take no parts in them, like at all, like in any of
Mm-hmm.
that. And it's just kind of like I've seen and experienced like enough stuff with like Jesus to just kind of like tap in like just different stuff. You've probably figured it out where it's just like sometimes like you'll be able to, I guess, like tap into like the ether, and you'll have like something guide your step in a very like wholesome, very like it has grace in a manner where it's like even if you fall, there'll be something that catches you. And it's kind of like, yeah. So I mean, I believe in all that kind of stuff. I just believe like I love Jews, I love Catholics, and I love Christians.
Love it.
and
Love it.
and then the rest of y'all, you get me, can like, I don't know. I just believe in God we trust. Blessed is the nation that the Lord is their God. In Jesus' name. And
Yes,
then
sir.
just to quickly transition just with that comment.
For sure. Um, but yeah, it was, literally was the law of the harvest at work. And yeah, grinded for 3.5 weeks, worked every single day. And then, so that was March. And then come April, like really it was like first week of April, I got a contract. And then they just started rolling in, bro. Like once I pushed through, um, and just kept started to get my habits in order and really cultivate my momentum cycle. Um, then I started to, because that the momentum cycle is success breeds confidence, confidence breeds activity, activity consistently taken over time creates habits, and success habits are what lead to success. But you have to take the dub first. So like that's the thing of that that's the beautiful thing about life is like we determine what's a win, we determine what's a loss. Like, and a problem I see in this industry is like a lot of people will go through their kind of just go through the motions, and then just throughout the week taking like L, and then finally when they get a close on it's a Thursday, they get a close. Now they're like, let's go. Now I feel confident. When in reality, like you don't need to get a deal closed for you in order to feel confident. So like winning for me is waking up when I say I'm gonna wake up, drinking water in the morning, writing my goals, writing what I'm appreciative for, reading a page or 10 pages. Um, but point to bring that full circle, the point I was getting at is like you don't need to close deals to feel confident. And it wasn't until I started winning personally and cultivating my momentum off the doors, because literally all of the work I found is done off the doors, bro. It's all off the doors. And gonna plug Knockstar here. Taylor McCarthy, Danny Pesci, they always say, you work harder on yourself than you do on the job. And it wasn't until I did that, then I started seeing success in the in the career. And then boom, that month got 9 closes. Next month, boom, 10 closes. Next month, 12. I think I finished that summer of 2020 with like 44 contracts, which like decent, not definitely not the best, but like decent as an appointment setter. And then from there, just continuing to cultivate momentum. Because once I started to develop personal wins and not just getting contracts and demos and recruits and all this stuff, then I started to actually feel more confident. And even with the doors and knocking, it's like once you see success, like once you have those, just for new people that are in the industry, like once you see those appointments that you set start closing, then you're like, oh my God, holy shit, I can do this. It's not fantasy. Like this is real. Then I feel more confident. And then if I'm feeling more confident about what I'm doing, I'm not going to just sit at home. I'm going to take action and start to do the activities that get me to where I'm going and continuing to grow in that space. So then now I'm taking activity or taking action consistently over a long period of time. Now I've developed those habits after consistently doing those actions, and those habits are what lead to success. Because there's some, like I see it all the time, even with friends of mine that work at other companies or own other companies. They'll get like a $10,000 a week paycheck, or a $10,000 paycheck in a week, and then take off for 3 weeks. And that's the difference between motivation and desperation. Is that's purely desperation if you get paid 10, 20, 30 grand in a week and then you take off. So that's really what I started to develop in 2020 of 2020 summer, and continuing to do that to this day. It's cultivating momentum cycle, because it's either working for you or against you. There is no neutral. So yeah.
10, 20, 30 grand a week, man. That is badass cash. I don't think I've ever made that in my life, to be honest with you. That's pretty badass.
I was just saying that as an example. Like I wasn't making that in 2020. Definitely not. As an appointment setter, I don't know if we can like talk numbers or whatever. I was getting paid like 200 a kilowatt as an appointment setter. So it's making decent cash. I was probably making, like, on good months, 15K, 8 to 15K a month as an appointment setter in 2020. And then really it was like 2021 and this year is when I actually started to like see the fruits of my labor, if you will, because I've continued to cultivate my momentum and work on myself more than I have on the job. And now the job is just it's second nature. Repetition is the mother of skill. So consistently
That definitely like helped me out, like to feel more confident, like just the wins that you got along the day and like just keeping with those. I'm just like, psh. Can you go into like the law of harvest if you could? Um, the law of harvest, you get me, and then it's personal development. I think has been accredited to like in between all of this. I think the average CEO reads like 52 books like a year, and it's just like if you're going through like a ton of high ticket systems, you're reading tons of books. You got me, especially like where you're at, because I think a lot of entrepreneurs, like wherever they come from, they'll have like a vision of where they want to go, and they kind of just do the best that they can along the way. And it's just like the other person grows because of that. And it's just like when we have someone like Nick, I mean, this is huge because this is where I want to get to next. Kind of like co-founding a company, running a company, just like in partnership, and kind of being like, what's the best solution and the outcome for like us and the boys and like everybody else. And it's just kind of like working together in unity. That's very powerful, that unity in Jesus' name. But it's like, how did you develop like these kind of relationships? Like, how did you develop like, wow. And then like for D2D experts, like, because you eventually got on the D2D experts, like, you're on Lightspeed VT, man. Like, I don't know if you've seen yourself for the footage, where it's just like, I mean, it's good footage, man. It's like there's a whole section just for Nick Scarborough on like Sam Taggart's like program. And I've gotten
Honestly,
so much
bro.
value off it personally because I got like more comfortable like at knocking doors. It loosened me up because I know one of the things that he did, at least I think this is what he did, it's that he kind of like got some of the best reps like in the industry where it's just like if he can do it, I can definitely do it. And it's
Mhm.
kind of just like at a scale where it's just like what top performer, co-founder, just crushing it, like and plus, and it's kind of like just giving everyone the credit that's due to them more in Jesus' name. And it's kind of like, how did you develop that relationship? Like, how are you able to do like some of these things that allowed you to be able to go farther than where you are at now? Because not everyone has that gift of like vision or leadership, where it's like the young guy might even talk himself out before he starts sometimes.
Yeah.
Get me? And then you could be just 3 feet from gold, or just like everything in between, like from like your review. And I know if you write a book in the future or something, they can definitely check you out. We got like our Instagram here to check you out. We're also going to put you in the comment section. And, yeah. And I'm sure you're really cool when people message you anyways.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so that was honestly, bro, I haven't even watched like all the like I think I did a video in like the end of 2020 or beginning of 20, no, it was 2021. I did like a couple live knocking videos, and I've watched those on the door to door you. Um, but I honestly haven't even watched the other stuff. It was just Sam Taggart. I think it was 2021 last year. I'm fortunate enough to um, working with Source Energy. They were able to plug me into these programs like the Circle of Door to Door Experts and stuff like that. And I think last year I took like 52, it was either 52 or 58 flights. And the majority of them were me going back and forth from Denver to Utah. And I spent that's kind of when I had the opportunity to spend a good amount of time with Sam and get around other leaders in the industry and go to like business boot camps and like how to set up systems for onboarding and recruiting, and got introduced to like other high level CEOs, and just proximity is power. So rubbing shoulders with those guys is like
It expands your mind. Like,
100%. But yeah, that's kind of how I got to develop a relationship with Sam. And then so Source pretty much was able to get me plugged into that program, and then I would just go back and forth flying. Went to a couple events in like Texas. So, but last year I traveled a ton, just going to events and seminars and meeting new people and putting myself in, basically forcing myself into new environments that are uncomfortable and just embracing that uncomfortability. But yeah, I think the like how I kind of got introduced to be recorded and do the live trainings and stuff like that is Sam like came out here, or I don't even know if he was out here. He might have sent a filmer out. And he was just like, yo, dude, can you go do some live footage? And I was like, I guess, let's do it. And I'm like a leader at my company, and I'm like known for having like a presentation to the T, like follow the books, this and that. But that's kind of when it started, and it was like, oh, like Nick is a pretty good knocker. And then the next time he
he's the
came
man,
out,
dude.
it
You
was
gotta check him
probably
out on Lightspeed VT for D2D Experts.
Lightspeed
For real, on
VT.
Sam Taggart's program. He has like a whole section just on him.
Yeah.
We're on the show today. I feel very privileged and blessed. You got to be
Yeah.
very fortunate for this
Thank you,
divine
bro.
opportunity in Jesus' name and more.
Love it, bro. Thank you so much again. But then yeah, I think Sam was out in Colorado again for, this was probably like 6 months later or something like that. And then I had gotten even better. And also want to just shout out like Knockstar. And I think what really like made me as good as I am today is just investing in yourself, investing in coaching, investing in health, investing in just going to live events and seminars. But main thing is coaching. Like I remember it was actually in the end of 2020 when I first invested in Knockstar University. Um, I was still, I was in like a decent financial position, and I remember it was their first boot camp that they ever did, and it was like $2,000, and I was like transitioning companies, and I was like, well, dude, like I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to sell, and it's like a selling competition, and I was like, yeah, I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to sell or like win this competition or even rank in the competition. But I know that by spending this $2,000, it's gonna make me better. And just by investing in that program, it allowed, one, the content is fire, like still using that content that I learned, still watching that content even and using it to a T to this day. And that was a big thing, is just investing in yourself. Right after I invested in myself in that program, then I realized, oh wow, like you have to pay to play. Like it was things that I had never learned before ever. And then from there, it was like another opportunity came around, and it was like, oh dude, here's this coaching program where you can do 3 calls a month with Ed Milet and Andy Frisella. It's called Arete Syndicate. Anyone can do it. I think they open the program up like 4 times a year, once a quarter, but it's $400 a month. Boom, no brainer, 100% doing that every time. That's been a game changer. Investing in, like, going to like a crypto seminar in Miami, and that's like another couple grand. But just really be willing to pay to play, I guess, is what I'm saying, because that's how you build relationships, and that's how people know you're serious, is when you pay to play. And I think that is what really allowed me to start building the relationships, because I was willing to. And yeah, so I don't know if you've ever listened to Kevin Trudeau, but I'm gonna plug his audio program in. It's called Your Wish is Your Command. But highly recommend people listen to that. Your Wish is Your Command. But he tells this story of when he was at a seminar, and I forget where he was. He was like in New York, I think. And some dude speaking on stage. It's like a business life seminar. And the guy's talking about how there's going to be this event in California, and anybody that goes to the event is going to learn how to make $1 million a year from their home without leaving your home, how to make $1 million a year from your house. He said, but the seminar is going to be in Los Angeles, California, and it's going to be $5,000. And for some of you, $5,000 is too much money, and California is just too far. And that's why you'll always be a loser. And after I heard that, and then these opportunities come around for me to invest in programs, I'm like, I'm a winner. I'm gonna invest in these programs. And that was like a huge kind of breakthrough moment for me when I actually did invest in the programs. And what he says is, when he went to that seminar, he didn't make $1 million the next year. He made $2.5 million the next year without ever leaving his house. So, point I'm getting at, invest in yourself, invest in programs like Door-to-Door U, Knockstar U, like they're 100% game changers, and I still watch them to this day. Like, we were kind of chopping it up at the beginning, is saturating your subconscious mind with positivity and a knowledge that you can apply. Like, you were telling me about how you kind of got connected with Jordan Belfort. I'm listening to his book again, like currently, and I'm not like actively listening to it and taking notes as I was like the first time, but I'm playing it in the car whenever I have time, and it's just subconsciously picking up those things, like watching the same Door-to-Door U, Knockstar U videos over and over and over again, because then when I'm on the doors, I don't have to think. All of it is just coming out. I've already written down my presentation as many times as possible. I know it like the back of my hand. Don't have to think about anything. Just go out and do the thing. And I think it's real easy for new people in the industry, especially, to get caught up in the minutia of like, how do I handle this objection? What are you saying? like, what do you say when the customer says they're not interested or this or that? And it's like, dude, what you say doesn't matter. Literally doesn't matter at all. If the smile's not there, if your energy's not there, if your enthusiasm's not there, or that transfer of energy is not there, like if the homeowner's not feeling better when you're out their door, then what you say doesn't matter because they're not going to listen to you. So yeah, I've kind of gone off on a tangent here. So if you got
Yeah,
anything to,
yeah. I mean, one of the things that I want to get better at would be like the loan, the lease, because I've been taking notes the whole time, by the way, like on my computer here on the side, because like it's my goal now to like be kind of like a co-founder or owner, just collectively in unity, and I want to be able to reach that next season of my life. Like what would you like better? Like, would you like the presentation? Would you like the loan or like the lease? Like, which one do you like better? Like the loan or the lease? And then, because these are my notes. And then, if you want to share like a little bit of your presentation, if it's up to you, you got me for any of the people that are like stuck to the end.
yeah. So loan, or I mean, I sold PPAs for a year, but I've always sold loans. I believe in ownership. Don't really believe in the leasing unless it like absolutely makes sense for the customer and they can't get a tax credit or they're super old and they just like want to go solar. But at the end of the day, I don't really think it makes a difference as long as you're authentically adding value to the homeowner. But I personally believe in ownership. So but yeah, I guess my kind of presentation won't go through like the whole thing, but I can definitely go over like the outline of it. Like
What do you like better, the loan or the lease? And
I
like,
like the
and for
loan.
you like the loan? Like, why do you like the loan better?
I like the loan better because I personally feel like I'm adding more value to the homeowner. They're owning it from day one. They're getting the tax credit, obviously. Um, and yeah, I think it just makes more sense for people. Like they're getting the tax credit, they get all the equity that comes along with it. I mean, they still probably add some value to the home with the lease, but mainly the tax credit and just the fact that you can sell on value and ownership instead of just savings. Because a lot of the deals I'm selling out here in Colorado, sometimes they're net losses. Um, so like being able to sell on value and say, hey, like you're gonna it's gonna be 20 or $30 a month more to own your power. Here's why: equity, fixed monthly payment, no more rate increases, you get the federal tax credit, etc. And that's only on like some occasions, but I definitely like the loan better.
Do you want to go into like, so equity, fixed payment, they'll pay a little bit more, but they get to own their power. For us, we actually lower their bill sometimes with the loan. You get me? And then the
Yeah,
tax credit, it's if they make over 70K that they're able to claim it, regardless if they pay taxes like throughout the year or at the end of the year when they write something off.
right. um Sorry, I what was your question? I,
So it's just like when it comes to like at the end of the year, you get me, and they're either gonna write it off or they have to pay taxes. You get me? Like because it just gets taken out of their check. They have to make over 70K to claim the 30%
yeah,
tax credit. Now that's just like it has to be minimum 70K.
yep.
If not, it just kind of like it doesn't matter. Like it has to be minimum whether they gets taken out of their check or like they write it off for like a business owner.
Like, what are my thoughts on that?
Yeah, or is that how it works?
Oh, yeah, so basically like the way the tax credit works, like they're obviously getting 30% of the system, and basically the way I'm explaining it is it's designed as a down payment on the system from the federal government. And so if you're able to claim the tax credit, you take this 30% and it's a credit, right? It's not a refund. So at the end of the year, if your solar tax credit's $5,000 and you owe the federal government $1,000, your tax credit's going to be 4,000, which then you can take that 4,000 you have left over to put into the system to pay the loan down. But I make it super easy on myself, and I just show people the like payment without the tax credit and just assume you're not going to get it. And if you get it, that's great. If not, no big deal. You're still owning your power, having a fixed payment, adding value to your home, using clean energy, and saving money over time as the utility rates go up.
Because they are going to continue to go up.
100%.
Personally, you get me. Okay, so that's why you like the loan better. Like, is there anything else you'd like throw in? Because like, and then the lease, do you ever sell it to them if they're like over 60 or 70, or it's just like, does it ever really make sense to lease? Because like one thing that I'll think about myself is like, if I have like a little old lady in front of me, I'm just like, what happens in these like later years? You get me? If she wants to travel or something, and then I opened up this like line of credit that she knew about, but it's just kind of like, being able to her, if she wants to go to Fiji, have that cash. So it's something in like my head, like, will the lease be better for her in that case for me? And then share, you get me, with like, let's just say like a rookie, like just like seasoned veteran.
Yeah, so I guess it depends on what market you're in, because like I don't sell leases in the market that I'm in right now. But I sold PPAs in New Jersey and made sense for people. Most of everybody at my company when I was in New Jersey sold PPAs. Um, but there was one dude that sold like 20 to 30 loans a month, and he would only sell loans in New Jersey. So, but I personally don't believe in the lease or the yeah. So I
Perfect.
guess it's situational. If they can't get a tax credit, maybe it'll make more sense to do like a lease or a PPA, but it's kind of my 2 cents.
Cool, cool. And then, okay, so the loan, the lease, the PPA. And then the lease just doesn't really, and if they're like they're 70 or 80, like will they even get like an ROI? Do you just like knock the next home? Or it's just, you get me?
Yeah, if they're 70 or 80, then it's kind of I won't really push them unless they're like, look, we want to do this to help our kids, and we're passing this on to our kids in the next however many years, and we want to own our power. Then like, cool, I can help you guys get that. Maybe kind of, I'm just thinking, yeah, if they're 70 or 80, I'm not really pushing them for it. I'll probably just go to the next house. But if they're like super down for it and they're like, look, we're passing this on to our kids. We know what we're getting into. We know we're taking out a loan. We know we're not getting the tax credit. And as long as you're authentic and upfront with people, and like you can make it make sense for them, and it's truly adding value to them, then like I think that's the way to go. Like they're gonna do it. So just my 2 cents.
The input was highly valued. Do you want to go over your presentation a little bit, and then like any kind of closing thoughts, or like whatever you kind of just like want to dive into?
Yeah,
Because
for sure.
right now I'm finally like just closing, and it's been like transition of like back and forth. I've had like a ton of deals when I've gone like on the blitzes, and I didn't have like a lot of like people like in Florida or like Miami originally, but like now we're starting to get a lot of more people, which is awesome. But I've taken a lot of blitzes myself by myself on like a Greyhound, like multiple times this year, like back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned and leveled up and been so privileged to have been in some of these environments, and just in a spirit of like Thanksgiving for everyone, Jesus' name. And then because of that, like their lives got better because this is like my attitude for everything, like how I learn. And then I like to take correction and consult from the wise, and he who has many counselors, you get me, will lead to success in Jesus' name. And being able to like grow into like more of the person that like I want to become in like my life, where it's just like where I'm at, the things that I have, and like everything like that. And being around those environments that will like affirm you, and then just grow, because you're gonna have to
For
start,
sure,
man.
dude.
So just start by personal development, and
Yeah,
then along the way it'll just kind of like work itself out in like different ways. And it's
100%.
just like I'm privileged to be with Nick today. Like I'm just like, what? Like even more like reaffirmation. It's just like, right, guys, where it's just like, what the heck? It's like, okay, so you brought on guys that are like 40 and 50. You brought on guys that are 20. All right, there's no excuses. Oh, I could definitely, you got me achieve. You got me ZYX. You got me whatever XYZ was. You got me for their soul, their destiny, their purpose. In that clean heart for their destiny and their purpose to like manifest and be real. At the end of the day, it's just like, yeah, man, just kind of like add to the world. Um,
100%. Um, yeah, dude. It's all about the person you become, you know? Like the money's good, money's gonna come, but it's like who do you want to be, you know? It's all about the person that you actually become, and just continuing to level up and chase the best, or start to become and embody the best version of yourself. Um, but yeah, I can touch on the presentation like a little bit. Um, so I mean,
because this is some of your sauce, you get me, and like the sauce has value.
yeah, 100%. And
You
I
get me
like,
at this like 5-star gourmet restaurant that the food is accompanied with like a special wine for each dish.
yeah,
But
right. For sure. I'm not, honestly, dude, I'm not like doing anything crazy or saying any outlandish stuff. I just stick to my guns and have a solid, structured sales process that I do every single time, which is, build rapport. So that's step one, build rapport for, um, well, first I'm arranging seating, right? So I'm making sure that I'm open to them. I can look at both of them, at both homeowners at the same time. Just so they can't like look at each other and have side combos. Like I'm making sure I'm open to them, arranging seating, and then I'll build rapport 3 or 4 minutes when I get in. Kind of have them let their guard down, open up a little bit. I call it the 5 Ps: people, places, plants, pets, and pictures. So those are like 5 things you can kind of do or point out to break the ice. Or if like you walk in and there's like this abstract painting or like something that stands out, just talk to them about it. But I think real rapport is 3 things: being sharp as a tack, enthusiastic as hell, and an expert in your field. It's the man JB right there. I think if you're those three things, that's what building rapport is. I don't think rapport is building like talking about someone's vacation and stuff like that. Like that works, and you can be genuinely interested in someone and they'll feel that. But I think actual rapport is you being sharp, enthusiastic, and the expert, and subconsciously they're gonna feel, and matching and mirroring, right? Because subconsciously they're gonna feel more connected to you if you're able to match their body language, their tonality, facial expressions, hand gestures, and stuff like that. But that's a whole nother story. Step one, build rapport. Step 2, so it's 10 steps, right? I'm pretty sure Jordan Belfort talks about it in the Way of the Wolf. You've probably heard it, the 10-step process. So it's build rapport, what is it? I'm blanking right now on my
So you want to
second step.
keep them on the straight like line, and then
Yeah,
it's just they want it for, and a really easy way to build rapport is just like you're sharp, you're enthusiastic, you're interested in like who they are, but also make sure to build like I think a real relationship like while you're in there. And for me, like sometimes you get me like even going in when I didn't know my presentation, like partially like going into this company, like, I would just
mm-hmm.
talk to people.
Yeah,
And like I grew so much from that, and I got so many cool stories, but people would do sit downs and I'd come back with the closer and stuff. And they're
yeah,
like,
yeah,
"We love Noel's appointments." It's like, give him
yeah.
to Noel. Like, and it's just like, yeah. So I mean, continue if you please.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, I had to write it down. I'm a whiteboard guy, so I had to write it down real quick. So it's rapport. Second step, I'm re-explaining why I'm there, just kind of going over the program that I do. Step 3 is I have just like a little questionnaire that I'll go through with them to just make sure they qualify, kind of get like measurements of the home, kind of show them owning versus renting your power, what's held you back from going solar, kind of just flushing objections, basically getting them to tell me why they haven't done it, what they've already looked at. And if they're like, yeah, I've already sat down with the company, I'll like act shocked. Be like, you sat down with the company and you didn't go solar? What happened? Talk to me. And then they're just like, all right, yeah, it was going to be this commitment and we're paying more and this and that. So I'll flush objections with a little questionnaire. That's step 3. And then after I do that, I'm like, perfect. So I can tell you guys at least pre-qualify for this program. So next step, just to kind of give you the roadmap, we're going to go through a little presentation. I call it Solar 101. We'll answer any questions that you guys have. After that, I'll show you your design. So exactly where they're going to go on your roof, how much money you're going to save every month, and how much value is added to your home. Assuming everything checks out, if 1 + 1 = 2 and the numbers make sense, I can't tell you can 100% go solar today. All that I can do is show you if the numbers make sense, and if they do, we're going to submit 2 forms. First one being your utility application. There's going to be permission for us to come check the roof, permission for us to submit for the permit on your behalf, all the guarantees for our program and your warranties. And then the second form is going to be for your fixed monthly payment. So all I'm saying is my goal throughout this presentation is to just find a reason that this doesn't make sense for you to do. And if you can, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, can you do the same thing and play devil's advocate with me and just try to fight this and find all the reasons it doesn't make sense to do? Because if there is one, I'm not going to make it weird and ask you to do this at the end. But if we go through this and you're like, no, this makes sense, and the numbers are in your favor, we're going to submit those 2 forms to get your application in today. Does that sound fair?
Fair and more.
Perfect. Are you sure?
I believe so up until now.
All right. And
Everything
then,
seems to be going great.
all right.
And I know I can just call you afterwards and you answer the call, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
But no, that's my intent statement. And then I'll go into a little the presentation's closed. Like the deal's closed at the intent statement. And if they try to fight me on the intent statement, like, no, we're not signing anything today, da 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 da, I'll just continue to loop them and ask for it again. And I'm not moving on to my presentation until I get them to agree that we're signing this paperwork today if it makes sense for you. If it doesn't make sense, I'll be the first one to tell you not to do this. But if it makes sense, we're doing this today. And then I'll go through the presentation. Before I show numbers, I'll ask them like, cool, so before I show you guys the numbers, what lingering questions do you have? All right, perfect. And then it's really just building value throughout the design as well. So, and it's framework. So if I know their offset is going to be 90%, I'm going to set the expectation throughout the presentation. Like, yeah, most of the families I serve get about 70 to 75% of their power from solar. Any questions with that? No, that makes sense. They're like, no, that makes sense. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then right when I show them their numbers and offset, I'm like, so remember how I said most of the families I serve get about 75% of their power from the system? You guys got 90%. High five. And then boom. So we got you guys approved for 15 panels or 20 panels. The average system is only 8 to 12 panels. High five. And then just before showing them their bill, like, cool, so what was your highest bill? What was your lowest bill? And your average bill was this. So if what was your high bill? 200. What was your low bill? 100. What was your average bill? 150. Your new electricity bill is $130. High five. And then just building value on the numbers, and then asking the closing question. So if we're able to do X, Y, and Z, if we're able to get you solar on your roof for no money down that you own, lock in your bill at 130, and increase the value of the home without coming out of pocket, is there any reason why you would want to keep renting power from your utility company? Not a chance. All right, perfect. Next step's just getting you qualified. Which one of you guys has the better credit? And then holding the line on that transition. So
You have to. It's what's going to allow the other person, if they're smart enough to learn from them, to grow.
100%.
So thank you, Nick.
Yes, sir. Thank you,
Nick
Noel.
Scarborough. All right, cool, man. Yeah, Bradley's cool as heck, man. When you, I think, like, are always learning from people, you become like them, I think, like, unconsciously. Similar to like how you've probably been like around Andy Frisella and like Ed Milet, and like just like a lot of like self-investing like over the years. And I mean, what how do you want to, like, I guess, like, finish the episode off, like what's something that you get me, I guess, like, you have inside your, like, your spirit, your soul, your mind, and then like it's just like I want to share, you get me. Can you talk about leadership, you get me, because you have really strong leadership, and it's just like I always want to improve, and I'm sure like a lot of the guests, you get me, because you've been around so many masterminds that are worth, like, I think you pay like $5,000 for just like one event, right? And like just so much more.
Yeah.
And then most of these people are just like, what the heck, you get me? No, you brought in a guest of this caliber, and more and more and more. And is I mean, like what would you want to, like, I guess, share, or even like meeting me if you could, or like just like in general when you meet like typically just like most people, like what would you allow them to be able to, if they have the good fortune and the benefit of even asking for your input, which I'm sure most people just do. And it's just,
Thanks, dude.
if you please, for myself, Nick, personally, and like for like the rest of the audience.
Yeah, man. In terms of leadership, if you, I would say, if my 2 cents or just any input on leadership would be, if like you can't lead anybody until you like lead yourself first. Like you have to fill your cup first, because you can't fill from an empty cup. And I think that was a big thing for me, was just making sure that my cup is full so that I can then pour into my people, pour into my reps, pour into pour into you, this podcast, just kind of make sure that you're taken care of, make sure you're leading yourself, and like practice what you preach, you know. Do as I do, not do as I say, and leading from the front. I think I've gained more influence um just by leading from the front. And I actually had the had the privilege of having a one-on-one. I've had a couple one-on-one meetings with Taylor McCarthy. You know the Knockstar guys, right? So I've had the privilege of having a few one-on-ones with him, and like he just shot me straight and was like, "Look, man, if you really want to move the needle in your organization, you need to sell more than need to sell more than double than second place in your office." And the following month, or might have been a month after that, I did just that, and my influence went like this, because that's what John Maxwell says: is leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. And yeah, so live by do as I do, not do as I say. Because I've worked for managers and not leaders that are like, yeah, go out and set 3 to 5 appointments a day, and like it's like, bro, you're not like, you don't even knock. So I think that's a big thing, is just leading from the front, leading by example, and
Right
embracing.
now, like I have homework they gave me like Friday, and they said, fix your presentation. You've set so many great appointments. You've done so good that we want you to just start like just closing them like yourself. So I'm
Yeah,
kind of like reviewing some of the last parts of like what are some of the guarantees that we have? Because I mean I think it should just be like copybook, like simple. It's like, oh, here's a page, here are the guarantees for both. You get me now because you have these two. You get me. Just learn these and you'll be just fine. And now that I'm working on my presentation and stuff, um, I'm happy to just be able to through self-investment, through just smashing my head against like just like going really like hard, like fast and becoming the best that I can and growing. And it's just like, you know, just like growth. And
yeah, no, I hear what you're saying.
especially with like so some of the success I've experienced for like past jobs, you get me, in just like different roles. And
Yeah,
then
bro.
each one like putting me like at a higher role. Like I had a six-figure job when I was like 19, but it's not like the same as like you need like a bachelor's or whatever it was. And it's kind of like just like this whole journey, like throughout like all of it, like all together and stuff. It kind of just helped me like grow a lot. And you're where I want to be at in a lot of like retrospects. You got me. If I could like share anything at all, like value and being able to grow as a person. So I mean, like, what? Yo, this guy's kicking my ass at 21. You get me? He's got like the co-founder of the company, and like and more things that like I admire and stuff. It's just like, dude, what the heck, man? It's like this should inspire some of the 50, 60-year-olds, bro. I don't know, man. Like, just like there's like 8 billion people. Imagine if they would have been like you, like at the age that like we're at now. I'm 23, 21. It's like, what? But he's a co-founder. He's accomplished a lot. So it's like in China, they have this thing where it's just like, there's like a little girl and there's like some dude that's like 40, 50 and stuff. And, but he's like probably like 200, 300 pounds. And then the little girl's probably like, I don't know, like probably like 100 pounds, like 100, like 90 pounds, like 80 pounds, like 120, like just like pounds. And it's just like that little girl with like the other guy, she like sat down, she had like a little bit, a few books, but the other guy was like 30, 40, and like the seesaw was like totally offset. Like she had more weight at her younger age because of the books and like these things that she had like written. And it's something that it's just like when you understand these things, you get me, just like in life, which I think if most people understood them, they do a lot better. And you can be able to just like grow as like a person, you get me, just like all around, and then eventually just find like that one person you're with. I don't know, that little girl, you get me, you pretty much realize that like all her books, like everything was like on her, and she had sometimes more value than somebody that's older, but not everyone always like I guess like gets smart to that. And it's just like you because similar to like how you've because we both self-invest a lot. There's people that you've probably met like they don't self-invest or they don't actually have some of these things in common like at all. Like I've probably read like hundreds of books. I've put in like work and stuff. But it's just like I don't know, like I have a lot of like good things that I admire from you. And like I'm okay saying that. Like I'm gonna be able to grow, you get me, just like who I am, like as a male, as a man, as a person really. You get me? Like because I put myself in environments that will like challenge me, help me grow. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? It's just like
Yeah, no, that makes sense. It's like um never want to be the highest level person in the room, you know?
I don't know. But this episode, I feel so fortunate. You get me to like have been able to like have brought like Nick, because like, dude, you've accomplished like so much, and it's just like, dude, you're 21. It's just like, what? Hey, what's Nick got? You get me? Like, who's Nick? It's like I want to get to know him. It's like I want to get to know Nick, man. Like he's 21. Like he was on Sam Taggart's program. He's shaking hands with everybody. He I think was just recently with like Andy Frisella and Ed Milet. They taught him how to build more real relationships. You get me on like what it is to help him accomplish his destiny and his purpose. And it's just like and if you're fortunate enough and if it's supposed to happen, you get me. Maybe you'll reach out to them or you guys will connect. You know, but I've definitely learned a lot. Do you want to like finish off the episode with like anything? You get me?
Yeah, no, thank you for having me on, Noel. And yeah, it's been a pleasure. I appreciate the opportunity. I think I've definitely grown from just talking with you over the last hour. It's been fun. It's been new for me. I was nervous, dude. I never done a podcast before, so I just thank you. I appreciate you, man.
I think a lot of the time, like in life, it's just because like it was so perfect the way it was finished. Anybody can like do anything. It's just kind of like getting out of like that first thing, because most people will talk themselves out before they accomplish some of like these goals that are just like major, man. So it's just like what the heck. And then we're definitely gonna make you like a main episode. We're gonna put you on like the main page and stuff. We're gonna like burst like fireworks and stuff. But thank you for the privilege, the opportunity, and the good fortune of being able to just have you on, other people to learn. You get me, and then like other relationships. You get me that are just like I guess like a growing experience and stuff for like people. And yeah, man, just kind of like conquering like the enemy and like your destiny and your purpose, because that's huge, bro. And the devil always tries to take you out of that, like through manipulation, through lies, through deception, through stealing your identity, to trying to make you think that you're not as valuable as you are, because you are and more if we were formed in the womb. And then you accomplish like your destiny and like your purpose. And it's kind of like, my gosh, it's just like at every level, like, yes, you're a spiritual success. You're not a spiritual failure. You're a spiritual success. You were made with a purpose and a destiny. Some people get like off track, and it's like having the riches in the land of the living and like everything. But yeah, man, and growing into like people that we want to be like, this is just nuts. Like this is just, it's magnificent. If only more of the world were like this. Probably driving a Ferrari by the time you're 23, man. So not already, but thank you everybody. Thank you, Nick Scarborough, for coming on in Jesus' name. And the rest of you guys, check him out on his Instagram here, Nick.Scarborough, SCARB number 0, and then ROUGH, spot on. And then
Spot
we'll
on.
put it in the comments as well. You get me? And then just getting you to where it is that you want to get at. So share the episode, drop a like, subscribe to Nick's channel. Hopefully you subscribe to this channel. Check out some of the past content. And thank you so much in unity and the spirit of Thanksgiving and just like Jesus' name.
Sweet. Thank you, man.